Hello everyone, welcome to Huddle Adventures. I'm Eddie. Laura's in here right now. Now, our title of this video, It's Time to Talk About This, might sound clickbaitish. It's not meant to be clickbait, guys. There's been something going on for the last couple years that I've considered sharing on our channel, but have decided not to, and now I kind of regret it. So, it's health related, and it's had a big impact on the channel, and I won't bore you. If you don't want to hear about it, that's pretty much what it's about. So there's no big mystery, but going forward, we're getting ready to celebrate our 4th anniversary here at Huddle Adventures. We started in July of 2021. It was July 12th to be exact, of 2021. We were urged to start this channel by our children. We have 6 children. They're all adults now because the youngest one's 18. They range to age 35. We have 3 grandchildren, and both of our mothers are alive. So that's our family. That's the Huddle Bunch, the blended family that it is. So they encourage us, hey, you should start a YouTube channel, because during the COVID pandemic shutdown, every time they come visit us, we had cruise vlogs on because we missed cruising and we're watching all of our favorite vloggers, Para DJ, EECC, Sharon at Sea. I don't want to miss anybody, but we're watching everybody and loving it, you know. So we thought, hey, no one's going to want to watch us. We started a channel, didn't expect nothing, no expectations. And prior to our first cruise, post-pandemic, and first cruise as Huddle Adventures, it was in August of 2021. Cruising reopened in July. We're preparing to go on a cruise, and I'm watching all these vlogs about COVID-19 protocols for the cruise lines. And most of the information, well, not most of it, a lot of it, I should say, was misleading. It made it sound like it was either easier than it was or harder than it was. So I said, hey, I'm going to do a video about that and clarify and share what I know. It turned into cruise news. We morphed right into cruise news. Right from that video, I did more videos about it, because if you remember, the cruise protocols for COVID-19 were ever changing. So I was doing updates, and then I found myself doing news stories about other topics related to cruising, related to air travel. Pretty soon I was doing daily cruise news. And this went on for almost 2 years straight. We were a cruise news channel. We were small. We weren't like Tony. We weren't big like Don, but we had a good following, and our channel was clicking along. We were doing good, and we were doing vlogs, and we were doing the day-by-day vlogs on all of our cruises, and doing all those traditional things you expect from a cruise channel. But what happened was, in 2023, we went on the Vlogger Extravaganza cruise, and that was on the Norwegian Breakaway out of New Orleans, and every big channel was on that cruise. When we booked a cruise, we didn't even have a channel at that point. So we're on that cruise as cruise vloggers. I think we had around 11,000 subscribers on YouTube. People knew who we were. We weren't real popular, but people knew who we were. And we were meeting a lot of people, meeting all of our, the people that we've been watching, and, and it was a great experience. Well, on one particular night, I got a really bad, I should say afternoon, I got a really bad headache. One of the worst headaches of my life. It sent me to the stateroom at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I laid down and just prayed the headache would go away, and did not move basically until the next morning. Didn't eat anything, didn't drink anything. I just sat there, laid there, and my mom was with us on that cruise. So my mom and Laura, we had specialty dining reservations for the Italian restaurant that night. They went there, and Laura still says that's the best meal she's ever had on a cruise ship. And of course I miss it because of my headache. So as 2023 progressed, I made a decision. Everybody was doing cruise news at this point. Every time a cruise news story would pop up, I would go online and consider posting about it, but 20 cruise channels would be covering it. Everyone from people with 150 subscribers to the biggest channels. And I just thought, wow, this is becoming oversaturated, and what's the point? So I decided, it's a lot of work, a lot of effort. And the recording location I was using for the cruise news, I was not able to use it as easily as I was before when I was doing daily content. So I decided, hey, I'm gonna stop doing daily cruise news. I'll just do big stories when they pop up, and I'll do cruise tips, cruise humor, stuff like that. Still be entertaining, but not doing a daily, upload. So that had an impact on our channel, okay? So as we stopped uploading on a daily basis, our growth kind of slowed down. Well, as 2023 progressed, we also had a weekly live stream show. My headaches started coming on. They started being a regular thing. These really bad headaches, they started being a regular occurrence. And they were the worst headaches I ever had. And I was having them so regularly that there was a few times when we did our live stream, I had to cancel at the last minute because I had a headache. And it was getting to the point where I was canceling like 1 out of every 3 or every 4. And after about a year of doing the live stream, we decided on, I believe, July 11th, 2023 to call it quits. And we ended our weekly live stream. And it had to do with the headaches. Well, my doctor was treating it as migraines. And I had migraine medication I was taking. But it really wasn't working. And to get me to go to the doctor is like moving, heaven and earth. It's really hard. I'm very stubborn. I work 7 days a week, and I never want to go. I have excellent health insurance, guys. I'm very fortunate, but I hate going to the doctor because I hate the amount of time you waste there. That was my attitude before. The migraine medication wasn't working. The headaches were becoming more frequent, and by the time 2024 started, I was at a point where our daughter had moved back home, and she kind of moved into our studio area. She has 2 little dogs, and we have Max the Barker, the big Labradoodle. You guys familiar with the channel probably know Max. He barks at everything. So I got 3 barking dogs, don't really have a good place to record, and I'm having these headaches. So I decided to do more faceless content. Faceless content is, when you post a picture, an image of something, a video from one of our cruises, and maybe showing the wake of the ship or something, and doing voice-generated captions over top of that, putting your music on and stuff. Still requires editing, still requires effort, still requires planning. You have to put the message together. But what it didn't require was this, sitting in front of a camera, trying to find a quiet place to be able to be heard to do these videos. So throughout 2024, the only time you would see me on a video really was when we were on a cruise ship. Now, with the headaches, I was unable to do traditional cruise content because I would miss days of recording due to the headaches. Now, I don't want you to think all of our cruises are wrecked because poor Eddie was laying in a stateroom. That wasn't the case. But my head hurt enough that it took the inspiration and motivation of putting all the extra effort into vlogging and doing it all. And then on some of the cruises, I did all that, got home, and then went through a whole bout of headaches where I couldn't find the time or inspiration to do the editing required, which is really the big job, the editing. You guys, editing eats up so much time. So it became, you started seeing less and less of me on the screen because I was doing faceless content because of headaches. So 2024, the headaches I was getting, they weren't all severe. They weren't all like crippling, like taking me out of service type of headaches. But as the year progressed, I started realizing I got a headache every time I got on an airplane. If I didn't get the headache on the plane during the flight, I got the headache when we landed at the airport. And, we always fly into the cruise port destination a day or 2 ahead. And it sucks so bad. You're so excited to go on your cruise. And we're going to make a day of it in the cruise destination. We're going to, the port city, we're going to go out, we're going to do things, we're going to have a great time, we're going to collect content. It's going to be great. And then I get there and I'm dying with just a massive headache. And so finally I decided, after putting it off, I'm getting a new doctor. There's got to be something else going on. I didn't know what was going on. So I decided, all right, Laura was forced to get a new doctor because her doctor moved to another healthcare system. So she's seen her doctor. She said, he's really good. You should see him. And the guy fit me in right away. I went in, I talked to him about my headaches, explained them to him, and told him, the migraine medication isn't working. He had me describe the headache. And he said, that sounds like a tension headache. Let's check your blood pressure. My blood pressure, and I was stressed that day, and my blood pressure was 189 over 110. That was the first time ever in my life I had a high blood pressure reading at a doctor's office. They checked my blood pressure like 4 or 5 times before they let me go. And the really crazy thing was my heart rate was like 54 beats per minute. So they did an EKG while I was in the office to make sure everything's okay, because normally your heart rate's going to be elevated when your blood pressure's high. And there's a bunch of different medical reasons for that, mine being lower and possibilities that may have caused it, but that's really not the important part. The important part was, after all that, the lowest they were able to get my blood pressure down was like 164 over like, I think 104 or something like that. And he prescribed me blood pressure medication. And he told me probably within 3 or 4 days to take this medication, your headaches are going to be gone. And he was right. But before I left the office, he's like, you're my new patient. You're 55. At the time, I was 55. I see you've never had a colonoscopy in your records. You need a colonoscopy. I'm like, no, thanks. I'm driving. Forever the smartass is me. No, thanks. I'm driving. And he said, yeah. Well, he said, it takes a while to get a colonoscopy anyways. He goes, so I'm going to send a Cologuard test to your house. Cologuard test to your house. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'll do that. 2 days later, I'm not kidding, the Cologuard test arrives. It's in a real fancy box, got all this really fancy packaging, got detailed instructions. You can go online, QR code, go look at the instructions, directions, little cute, mascot for Cologuard, a specimen container, a little contraption that goes on your toilet seat, and a little tiny little target that you have to get your specimen in. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't sure if my aim is that good. I'm like, I don't know if you've done it before, you know what I'm talking about, guys. It's really, I won't go into the details of it, but it's kind of, it's slightly traumatizing. I get made fun of for saying that, but it's, anyways, the craziest part of it is you put everything back in the same box and it seals up real nice and real cool. And it has a UPS return label on it. You just call UPS and the UPS guy shows up and picks it right up. He picked it up that same day and I had to watch him on my camera to see how he handled it. I didn't know if he was going to pick it up and hold this. He ran up, put that thing under his arm and ran off my porch with it. I'm like, that guy's a veteran at collecting these specimens. So anyways, I ramble and ramble. Probably they said you'll get your results back in like 2 to 3 weeks. It was like a week later. Now this is in December. I remember it was December 23rd. I get an email from Cologuard, the company that owns Cologuard. I forget the name of the place. And I'm like, okay, I open an email and it says, you have a positive Cologuard test. You have tested positive for cancer. And it went on to say that they have an 87% accuracy rate and 13% false positive rate. And I'm just sitting there. It's December 23rd. We're getting ready for Christmas. I remember sitting there in my living room and I'm looking over at Laura and I don't even know if I want to tell her. I don't know how she's going to react to this. I don't even know how I'm reacting to it. So I just told her, hey, that test came back positive. And she instantly goes, yeah, I looked into that. They got a 13% false positive rate. I'm sure it's probably positive. You're going to be okay. Everything's good. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, okay, and in my doctor's office, my old doctor, the Miss Migraine lady who misdiagnosed me, didn't realize I switched doctors. And she sent me a email on Christmas Eve saying, you tested positive for colon cancer. I put in a prerequisite for a colonoscopy for you. No Merry Christmas. No my condolences. No, it should be okay. Don't let this stress you out. None of that. I'm like, that just reaffirmed my decision to change doctors was a smart move. So I'm like, okay, cool. We get through Christmas. I make a phone call. I'm going to get my colonoscopy right away. As soon as I can get in, guys, March 24th. So I'm sitting there going, I have to wait 4 months, or actually 3 months, to find out if I have colon cancer or not. And I didn't know what to think about. I was angry at first. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm a 55-year-old man, and, they treat you like you're expiring fruit on a shelf somewhere. Your label is almost up. That's how you feel when you go to the doctor. If you're like me, maybe I'm just a cynic or pessimist. But that's how I feel. I feel doctors kind of treat me that way. Plus, I've worked 30 years in the skilled trades, guys. Breathing, asbestos early on in my career and being exposed to all kinds of stuff. I've already had skin cancer scare once. I had to have that removed. So, I half expect for something like this to happen, just because of the chemicals and stuff I've been exposed to over the last 30 years. So I got really angry, and Laura made phone calls, tried to move it up, get it earlier for me, and she couldn't. They told me that actually initially it was going to be June, but they moved some stuff around and got me in for March. So now I'm looking at this going, all right, we have a cruise coming up at the end of January, beginning of February. It's a Tropic Like It's Hot group cruise. Our first ever group cruise we're hosting. We have a 10-day cruise on the Enchanted Princess in March, which I believe it was like March 10th through the 20th or something like that, which we were getting back from right before the colonoscopy, which was scheduled for the 24th of March. And both of those cruises were paid for. And we had a few other cruises throughout the year. So all my PTO time was allocated to cruises. So I had to figure out, we need to cancel one just in case I get a positive test result. I need to have time off to be able to transition from, vacation time to workers' comp time, to give myself a little window. And plus, maybe I just have to get treatments and take a day off here or there. It's pretty bad when you take all your time off and you schedule every minute of it for your passion, cruising, traveling, right? So we had a cruise scheduled for September, the Carnival Venezia, which we're going on in September. And we had a cruise scheduled for December on the Celebrity Ascent. So that left our cruise at the end of May, which was on the Forenza, the Carnival Forenza Alaska cruise, a group cruise with their good friends, Have Luggage Will Travel, Josh and Amanda. And all we had tied up in that one, guys, was the deposit. The other cruises were either paid for, the cruise was paid for, the airfares paid for, hotels, or all of the above were paid for. This one wasn't paid for. And the deadline to pay it off was on February 28th, which is less than a month before the colonoscopy. So I would have hated to pay it off and then have to cancel it and then try to fight with my travel insurance company to get reimbursed for it. I just didn't want to go through that. So I broke down and explained to Josh and Amanda what was going on. They were the first people outside of my family that were told what we were dealing with. And we're such good friends with them, I felt comfortable telling them. And they quickly offered their prayers for it to be, okay, that I'm going to be okay. And I love them for praying for me. I really appreciated it. And, Josh kept checking on me, making sure my mental game was good. Because I'll be honest with you, it was hard. Going 3 months, and I know this sounds kind of a macho thing to say, saying I wasn't worried about me. I'm worried about my family. I literally was worried about what would they do if I leave their life this early on. I'm kind of important to these guys right now. I look out for them. That's how I look at my role. And they're not ready. They're not ready to be without me, right? Your job as a father is to prepare your children to be ready for a time when you're not there anymore. At least that's the way I look at it. So it was weighing on me pretty heavy, and it was making me kind of depressed and dark. And when we did our group cruise, I'm sure some people noticed that I was a little off my game. I wasn't as happy-go-lucky, partying Eddie like normal. And I actually talked to one of our friends on the cruise ship. I'm not going to mention his name because I'm going to tell you he also has gone through the same thing. And he has been down this road. And I found out about that, so I felt comfortable talking to him about it. And I chose to just try to keep it quiet, guys, right? So then we did the Enchanted Princess cruise in March. And Laura and I had a great time. It was our first time on a Princess cruise ship, 10-day cruise. Recorded a lot of content, made a lot of new friends. Average age on that ship was probably about 10 years older than me, probably around 65. And we had a great time. It was a lot of fun. And I was able to kind of let go and say, let's not think about it for a week. We'll worry about this when we get home. Came home a couple days later, went in for the colonoscopy. First time ever under anesthesia in my life, guys. I've been very fortunate. And wow, what an experience. It felt like I was just laying there 1 minute, and the next minute I'm back where I was. They started wheeling me to the room where they do the procedure. I was out before we got 20 feet down the hallway. And next thing I know, I blinked, and I'm back where I was at, literally. It felt like 5 minutes went by, maybe even less. And the first thing I said was, hey, man, you didn't take my wallet, because I'm always silly, right? The doctor, he's there, and he said, hey, I've got really good news for you. You are cancer-free. Not only are you cancer-free, you are polyp-free. I didn't have to do anything. You are your colon's in good health, and you're good to go. You won't need to do this again for another 10 years. So I felt relieved, guys. I was like, whoa, yeah, the headaches are gone. I couldn't even celebrate the headaches being gone because I had this dark cloud over me with this whole colon cancer scare. So here I am today. And when I get a headache, it's just like a normal garden variety headache, the kind you can just take an Excedrin for and it goes away within a couple hours. Very fortunate. My blood pressure has been really good. I did have to switch medications after about the first 6 weeks. The medicine I was taking stopped being effective and I started getting the headaches. I got like a couple days worth of headaches and my doctor immediately put me on a different medication. And since then, it's been perfectly fine, headache free and feeling good. My blood pressure has been great. So the medicine's working really good. I'm only on one medication. A lot of people are on blood pressure medication, take multiple medications. I'm on one. And so with all that, I just want to share with you the mistakes I made handling all of this, okay? During this whole process of the headaches and losing my space to record content, the channel, I just started the whole theme, not the theme, but just a whole method of the channel changed. It went from daily content to sporadic content to, faceless content to hardly any content to kind of scattered content. And I just wanted you to understand what that was all about. And I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you what happened. And I probably should have been open about this in the beginning. That's mistake number one. I tried to keep the chronic headaches and cancer, false cancer diagnosis quiet. I tried to keep it to myself. And I know now I should have shared that information to try to encourage other people out there that are dealing with similar health issues to seek a second opinion, get a new doctor, find a solution, whatever you have to do. I suffered unnecessarily for 2 years and could have had a stroke. My doctor told me I might have had a minor stroke or been very close to having a stroke several different times with my blood pressure being that high and having the headaches I was describing. I was having these headaches for 7-8 hours straight and then they would ease up, but they didn't really go away for like a whole day, another day after that. They were really crazy. So I'm checking my notes right now, so I'm looking down, guys. And then the other thing, really, really dumb thing. I avoided the colonoscopy getting it at age 50. Now, there's some doctors that are saying you should get it at age 40, especially if you have a history of it in your family. I've heard of them telling 25-year-olds, if your parents have colon cancer, you should get it at 25. So don't be afraid of colonoscopy. It wasn't being afraid. I just thought, man, that's kind of a degrading situation, to be in that vulnerable of a position, while under, the gas. It's like, oh man, it's just, I avoided it. So me avoiding the colonoscopy put me in a situation where I went 3 months at the beginning of this year, stressed completely out of my mind about I might have cancer and I waited too long and I wish I would have found out sooner and I'm stupid for not checking sooner. Now, God bless me. I didn't get the positive cancer diagnosis. It wasn't positive. So I'm very, very fortunate. I feel blessed. But I also feel that I need to share this information with other people and tell you, get out there and get your colonoscopy. Don't put it off like I did. You don't want to be going through that kind of stress. Don't put your family through that kind of stress. It is not worth it. And now that we're through all that, I was motivated to do this video because I popped into a live stream with one of my friends, Bill Warmstrong, Warmstrong Adventures. And he's like, oh my gosh, Huddle Adventures is here. Is it Eddie or is it Laura? Laura's been more active in the cruise community than I have in live streams and stuff like that. And she is known as Laura Huddleston from Huddle Adventures. My name on all live streams is just Huddle Adventures. So whenever you see Huddle Adventures, it's just me. I'm speaking for Huddle Adventures, and Laura would probably say I'm not speaking for her at times. But anyways, it's me. It's me. So Bill was like, oh, yeah, I know you've been gone for a while. And, you know, and I was thinking, I haven't been gone anywhere, man. I've been here the whole time. But he didn't know. He didn't know what was going on. And then I started looking at it from 1,000-foot view. Yeah, it does look like I was gone. And and then Katie, our daughter, was talking about a friend was getting ready to book a cruise at work, and she was telling her about how she should go on YouTube and check out all the vlogs that tell you about cruising and cruising tips and things like that. And Laura goes, did you recommend our channel? She goes, no, because you guys really aren't doing that anymore, are you? And I'm sitting there going, what? So I'm like, I got to get busy, man. I got to get back out there and get going. I love doing this, guys. I do this because I love it. Laura does it because she loves me, okay? So she enjoys it too, but not as much as I do. So I'm here to tell you, you're going to see more of me. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I am going to be doing more consistent traditional content where you see my ugly mug and sharing cruise news, opinions, cruise tips. I'm not going to be doing the daily cruise news stuff because, again, it's still oversaturated, guys. But I will give you my opinion on it, on the big stories, the big topics. And I would appreciate it if you're still here and you're not subscribed, you're not following us on TikTok, you're not following us on Instagram. Go into our bio and click on our Linktree link and give us a follow on all those things. We'd really appreciate it. Helps our channel grow, helps us, and we are here for you. We are all things cruising. So we'll talk to you soon. Bye.